Now we have the next institutional reforms or the land reforms. So in this, the very first is the abolition of the intermediaries. Intermediaries are the middlemen. So intermediaries between the state and the actual tiller of the soil, popularly known as the zamindars, have been abolished. As everybody knows, the zamindari system doesn't exist in the real sense. Yes, that is it is abolished in the books, but we know that in the real sense, if we talk about, the zamindars are still there. So, but we're talking about what is given here as per this. Then ownership rights have been conferred upon those who actually cultivate the soil. That is, whoever is cultivating the soil, they are also the owners. So this has been done with the view to stopping exploitation of the cultivators by the zamindars. Otherwise, most of the farmers, they were poor and they were working on the farms of the big landlords, that is zamindars. But now, as per the new reforms, whosoever is working on the land belongs to him. Then regulation of rent. To put an end to excessive and illegal extortions from the cultivators, rents have been fixed. If the farmer doesn't have land of his own, yes, so if he's working on the land of somebody else, so it's only a small portion of whatever he's producing he has to part away with to the owner of the land. The remaining part he can keep with him. Generally, there are not to exceed 1/3 of the value of the crop. Earlier it used to be 2/3. Now the next is consolidation of the holdings. Consolidation of the holdings means bringing together the small pieces of land, that is a scattered pieces of land together, so that they become more productive. Machines could be used on those bigger pieces of land. So with a view to reducing fragmentation, steps have been initiated for the consolidation of the holdings. Consolidation is a practice to allot land to the farmer at one place as a replacement for his scattered holdings here and there. It saves the cost of cultivation, and he can use machines on the bigger farms, yes, which becomes more productive. By 2004, more than 1,633 lakh hectares of land was brought under consolidation. Then ceiling on land holdings. Ceiling on land holdings means what? Putting a limit to the maximum piece of land which a person could own. So with the view to promoting equality and in the distribution of the land, ceiling has been imposed on the holding size. Ceiling on holdings is the maximum size of cultivable land holding that an individual or a family can own. If they have excess of it, it will be taken away by the government and it will be redistributed amongst the landless laborers. And the last one is a cooperative farming. The cooperative farming is encouraged to enhance bargaining power of the small holders, that is the small farmers. Together they can buy input at a lower price and sell their produce at a higher price. Many a times it happens that the small farmers, they come together, pool up their land, and they start purchasing better inputs, and this leads to what? More output. So this way they are able to get more profits as compared to what they would have if they were working individually on their small land holdings. Then coming to the general reforms. What are the general reforms? A few more reforms apart from what we have taken up. The first is expansion of the irrigation facilities, as irrigation is so very essential for the output to increase in agriculture. So with a view to raise productivity in agriculture, irrigation facilities have been expanded. Earlier people were depending, majority of the people still are, but they are much better as compared to what we were earlier. So people were depending on the monsoons only for irrigation. Now several major and minor irrigation projects have been launched across different parts of the country. So in 51, barely 17% of land was under permanent means of irrigation, which now has increased to 45%. Quite commendable. Then coming to the next one, provision of credit, that is cheap credit to the farmers. The cooperative credit societies have been set up to provide credit to the farmers at a very low rate of interest. This is to encourage them to go in for loans from the institutions, not from the money lenders. So the rural development banks have been set up to cater to the credit requirements of the farmers, the RRBs, the regional rural banks. Then There are 94,647 primary agriculture credit societies in our country and 768 primary cooperative agriculture and the rural development banks in the country. All these are to help the farmers to go in for cheaper credit and thereby increase their agricultural output. Then commercial banks have also been given the charge. Yes. So these provide about 72% of the total institutional credit. They are provided by the commercial banks, various commercial banks. Then the regional rural banks have been established to enhance the credit facilities. In 1982, the apex institution in terms of agriculture, that is a National Bank for Agricultural and Rural Development, NABARD. Full form could be asked of NABARD. It was established to institutionalize credit facilities to the farmers at the national level. So NABARD is an institution which is looking after catering to the needs of all the farmers in the country. Yes, it is an apex institution. Then coming to the next one, regulated market and cooperative marketing societies. So to sell off their produce at a good price, the farmers have been given access to the regulated markets where the prices are fair enough. Yes, they are getting remunerative prices, that is a good price. Yes, and the farmers are protected against exploitation of the middlemen, that is usually the traders. Yes, then the committees have been established to help the farmers, especially in correct weighing of the produce, correct measurement of the produce, and good value for the farmers' produce. Then we have the cooperative marketing societies. So these societies are also working for the benefit of, these are the cooperative societies where a few members of the farmers society are there as representatives and a few members of the government are there. So these societies ensure that farmers' produce is graded and sold only with good price. They are graded as per the quality. Yes, like you have the egg mark. Yes, so so these are graded as per the quality. Better quality, more grading, better grading, and the prices will also be better. So the cooperative societies ensure that there is no glut of supplies in the market. That is, though there is no dearth of supply of any commodity in the market, so that the crop's price does not crash. Yes, enough of everything is available in the market and the prices are also within control. Then price support policy. This is done by the government. This is the minimum support policy and the minimum support price policy, which we have taken up earlier also. This is to support the farmer for his produce. Say suppose the supply of a particular produce like wheat is very high in a particular year. The people may not be wanting to purchase so much. So then what the government does is the government will purchase the excess of the food grains from the farmers at a good price. Yes, this is what is known as a minimum support price. Yes.